Hey everybody, Crypto Stu here, and I wanted to put together this video. There's been some questions in the DPMS group about Flex Perpetuals, what it is, what's the opportunity, why should I consider getting involved in the seed round, etc. And so I wanted to put this video together today, just to kind of go over all of that. But I want to be clear from the outset that people in the DPMS group, you've known me for probably coming on a year and a half now that I've been involved in that DPMS group in one way, shape, or form. And I'm cautious that there's a lot going on. And so I've consciously made an effort not to share too much about Flex up to this point, because I know there's been a lot of other stuff going on. And so this really is the questions have been asked by some of the other community members about what this opportunity is. They know that I'm involved and so are interested to hear more information. And I truly believe my own kind of ethos in this space is to have diversification. I don't want to be reliant on a single protocol or project because of the risks that are involved with that. And so a diversified approach, in my opinion, is makes an awful lot of sense in this space while it's in its infancy. And therefore, I feel it's valuable to share information about other projects that are going along. And obviously Flex Perpetuals is something that I'm personally involved in. I work full time for this company. And that's a big deal for me. So I left my full-time job in the real world of 12 years back in April this year to come in and work in this space for Flex Labs. And I wouldn't have done that if I didn't have 100% faith in the team that's behind at Flex Labs, and also the vision, believe in the vision of what this team is building. And so Flex Labs is run by a guy called Bill. He is the CEO, and I have developed a relationship with Bill over the last couple of years in DeFi. And really, there's no one else that I would have gone, taken that leap to leave a full-time secure job to come and work in crypto. I wouldn't have done it for anyone else other than Bill, based on my experience working with him and his transparency and honesty and how he has treated investors in the existing project that we're in, which is based on Arbitrum network. So I wanted to do this video today just to share the opportunity. And if it's something that you're interested in, then you're welcome to continue to ask questions, and I will be more than happy to answer them. So in this video, what I want to cover is what Flex Perpetuals is. It's a perpetuals exchange, and so I'm going to give you a little bit of information about what a perpetuals exchange is, because I think that's important to understand kind of fundamentally what it is that you're investing in. Why we feel it's one of the best early opportunities currently available in the space, how you make a return on your investment if you do get involved in the seed round, and then finally we'll just go through the mechanics of actually how do we actually deposit into this seed round if it's something that you want to go ahead with. So there's no pressure from me to get involved. Do your research. I'll share all the resources here in this video that you will need to be able to make an informed decision to decide if this is something that you feel fits your investment profile. So Flex Perpetuals, next generation leverage trading coming to the base chain. So what we are doing is we are building a perpetuals exchange, and a perpetuals exchange in its simplest description allows people to trade with leverage in a decentralized environment. So you could go on to Binance and you can trade perpetual futures using leverage, but the custody of those assets is with Binance. So a decentralized perpetuals exchange provides that same functionality where you can leverage trade. So if you have a bias in terms of direction of Bitcoin, for example. You could trade Bitcoin with leverage. You could use 10 times leverage or 50 times leverage. And what that's going to do is it basically magnifies or amplifies the capital that you can utilize for that trade. So if I have $1,000 and I use 10x leverage, then essentially I'm putting on a trade that is worth $10,000. And so if it goes up 20%, I earn $2,000. But my risk is the $1,000. So leverage is a way that people use to amplify returns, but we also have to be aware that it makes it far easier for us to lose large amounts as well. But I think it's really important to recognize that you don't need to be a trader to take advantage of this opportunity. So our product is out there servicing people who do trade, and there's an absolutely huge um, community and there's huge demand for trading. People love trading with leverage. And so Flex Perpetuals provides the facility for people to do that. And as an investor in the seed round, you can make a return on your investment as a result of that. And so once the project launches, there's going to be opportunities not just for traders, but also for people who want a more passive income providing liquidity, because you can provide liquidity that essentially is the liquidity that the traders who are using leverage use to allow them to make those trades. So you get paid to basically provide the liquidity for them. Anyway, I'm getting into too much details. I just wanted to give you an outline of what a Perpetuals DEX is. It's a decentralized exchange that allows people to trade assets with leverage. So it's providing a real utility in this space. And I'm going to refer to this article here that I published yesterday. I wrote this yesterday, which was highlighting some of the main reasons why we feel that this is a great opportunity. So let's just work through this. First of all, when you invest in the seed round, you're really investing in the business itself and the success of that particular business or the potential success of that business. And so one of the key benefits that I see in this and why I've personally invested in the seed round, even although I'm in the team, is that the Perp DEX model is a proven business model. Okay, so there are existing perpetuals exchanges that earn absolutely monumental amounts of revenue. So you can go on, and this is a good tip for you as well. DeFi Llama is a great resource for doing some research in this space. And if we go into defilama.com and go to categories, we want to be looking for derivatives. Okay, these are our perpetuals exchange. So protocols for betting with leverage is how it's classified here in DeFi Llama. And you'll see you've got Jupiter Exchange, GMX, Hyperliquid, DYDX, etc. And we can go into these and we can study these and figure out what their revenue is. So GMX, for example, here, the fees that they have earned over the last 7 days, and these are fees. So whenever someone places a trade, they pay a fee. And they pay a borrowing fee, but if they're using leverage, they'll pay an opening and a closing fee usually. And then there's liquidation fees as well if they get liquidated. And so these fees are all, so in here, GMX, this in the last 7 days has earned $500,000 in fees. And if you look at my article, I pulled some of the kind of longer term data. GMX in 2023 generated $129 million in fee revenue. DYDX, which is another big one, 39 million in 2024 so far. And then HMX, which is a much smaller project than either GMX or DYDX, has generated 13 million in its first year. And this is important because HMX is actually the project that we have partnered with. So we are using their tech. So the trading experience on HMX is going to be, pretty much exactly the same as the trading experience on Flex Perpetuals. And so we're utilizing existing technology. We're not building something from scratch. We're taking an already working piece of code that runs the HMX platform, and we're bringing that across to the base chain. So it's proven tech. The difference being that we are changing the economics of the ecosystem to something that we have learned is going to provide a more lucrative future for Flex Perpetuals. So bearing in mind this huge amount of revenue that these platforms can make, we at Flex Perpetuals have a real community ethos. So our goal isn't to get rich running this program, running this protocol. We want to be paid for doing it. But this is a community-driven project. And so we're actually going to be giving 90% of the revenue back to our investors. So you imagine if we got to this 13 million HMX did in their first year, 90% of that going back to the investors. So there's an absolutely huge opportunity here for early investors, assuming that we're able to meet or exceed the performance of some of these other perpetuals exchanges. So the way that revenue is broken down, 45% of the revenue goes to those who are supplying market-making liquidity, like I mentioned earlier on. 30% of the revenue goes to people who are staking our FDX token with ETH in an LP. And then 15% of the revenue is used, the protocol is going to use that to buy our token and lock that into protocol-owned liquidity. And so that, in comparison, other DEXs out there, whether it's GMX or DYDX or Jupiter, most of these exchanges are typically distributing 50 to 70% of their revenue back to their investors, whereas Flex is doing 90%. So, we feel by offering this significantly higher share, we're ensuring that our investors are rewarded for their continued support. I mentioned that we're using HMX. So HMX is the existing Perpetuals exchange. It runs on Arbitrum, and we have partnered with them to utilize their code and build that on the base chain. And while we're using their technology, so the actual user interface, which is proven, is going to be the same, we are making some big changes in terms of the actual tokenomics of the project. And because these perp dexes, GMX, DYDX, HMX, there are lots of them out there. While their business model is fundamentally sound, i.e. the revenue that they're generating, their actual tokenomics underneath, there's some serious flaws with these tokenomics. Because they have, runaway emissions, they've got poor reward structures, some of the yields that they're providing are unsustainable, and these issues inevitably result in a declining token price. And for us, our focus is on making sure that token price is supported long term, because ultimately, that's what investors want. They want to see a token that doesn't, make a massive run up and then just drop forevermore. They want to see a token that has stability because it provides assurances for what's potentially going to happen in the future. So some of the key changes that we've made to the tokenomics are that we are using this dynamic emission distribution. So what does that mean? Well, essentially, one of the ways that protocols like Perp dexes can incentivize people to use their platform is to provide some sort of incentive or reward for using the platform. And so typically, some of the more modern perp dexes will run on a points-based system where if you trade a certain amount of volume, you will be airdropped a certain number of tokens as a reward. And those airdrops can offset people's trading fees. And so it becomes it becomes an attractive prospect for traders to use the platform, because as a perp dex, we need volume, because volume is what drives the fees. The more volume they get, the more fees that the platform makes. So as a business model, we need to drive model. So we need to incentivize people to use our platform for their leverage trading. We can do that by rewarding those traders with airdrops. Now, the problem is that existing perp dexes just arbitrarily give out these tokens with no thought given to the volume or the revenue that's actually been traded. You'll see that in their documentation, they have a fixed schedule of how the emissions are going to be set out. What we're doing is we're still want to incentivize the traders to use the platform. We absolutely need to do that. We need to drive that volume. But we're going to be providing those emissions, those airdrops, based on volume. So when volume's high, emissions are high. When volume's low, then the emissions will be low. We're not going to be needlessly giving out tokens that can later be dumped by traders who, if we're being realistic, the traders probably don't have a huge amount of interest in the long-term success of the project. They're there to trade today, tomorrow. They're not there looking at this as a long-term investment. Whereas seed round investors and people who are providing liquidity are looking at this more long-term. And so for those investors, the token price is important. So we're going to be dynamically distributing our emissions. And this is something that no one else is doing, to make sure that we're not unnecessarily just giving away tokens for the sake of it. We're also emphasizing protocol-owned liquidity. So I mentioned up here that we're giving 15% of the revenue. So 15% of what we earn as a protocol is going to be used to buy our token and provide liquidity. And that is hugely important. And this is something that in my time in DeFi, I have really learned the significance of deep liquidity, because we can always see these tokens going up and up and up and up. And then all of a sudden, as people start selling, it crashes. And that's because they don't have deep liquidity. If we've got deep liquidity, then that provides much more long-term stability for the token price. And you're also getting that consistent buy pressure from the 15% revenue that's being used to buy up the token, because the revenue is paid out in stablecoin. So we need to then swap that stablecoin for the native token, FDX. So there's a buy. Every time that happens, we're buying the token. So there's constant buy pressure coming from the protocol itself. And then finally, the third major change in terms of the tokenomics is we're going to be utilizing what's called the Arbitrum flywheel. So Arbitrum is a decentralized exchange on the Base network. It's the largest decentralized exchange on Base. And what Arbitrum allows us to do, it allows us as a protocol to buy the Aero token and to lock that token away for 4 years. And then we can use our voting power as token holders to earn an income and to incentivize people to actually support our token on the Arbitrum platform. So I know that all of this probably sounds quite complicated, but what the Arbitrum flywheel does is essentially it provides us with another source of revenue, so that we're not just relying on volume and trading fees. We will be getting an income from Arbitrum, and it also helps support our ecosystem by providing a place where people can provide liquidity for our token and earn rewards that aren't even being paid by us as a platform. They're earning rewards that are coming from Aerodrome. So there's a huge amount of thought and work has gone into designing how we are going to be different, how we can set ourselves apart from the competition. And really, this is where we see this as being the next generation of Perpetuals exchange. Lastly, let's just touch on the team. And so the team that I work for, there's 7 of us. We've got Bill, who's the CEO. I'm the COO. We've got Mike Dre, who some of you will be familiar with. He is our tokenomics and research guru. We have Eve, who is our design and marketing. And then we've got 3 full-time developers. And we have an existing project on Arbitrum. It's been running now for 18 months, which all investor funds are fully collateralized with a combination of real-world assets and crypto investments. And over the last 18 months, we've paid out $750,000 to that community, achieving an annualized return of about 40%. And we've learned a lot during that process, particularly about interacting and managing our community of investors and managing people's expectations. And that in this space, I think, is a massive skill set that we can lean on. And then finally, we're launching a trading platform. So it makes sense that there's some experience trading. And Bill, our CEO, is a trader. So he is uniquely positioned in this space to be able to give insight as to the direction of where this platform is going. What tools do traders really want? What tools do traders really need? How can we make their life easier, more efficient, and increase their chances of making a profit? And so having that experience on the team, I think, is a game changer. And so, we're developing our platform really to be the only sensible choice for people who are serious about their trading and want to trade inside of DeFi to use Flex Perpetuals over the competition. We're going to have lower fees, better execution. We're going to have the tools, advanced order features that serious traders want, along with a lot more that I can't even mention at the moment, that we're going to be building into the system in the future. So, big picture, there's a lot happening in DeFi. There are a lot of projects that are either launched or launching. They have potentially great ideas, innovative ideas, but it's unproven. Whereas Flex Perpetuals is using, it's using a proven business model, and B, it's using tech that's already battle tested from HMX. And so the risk of getting into any project early is always going to be higher because it's at the very beginning. But the risk of getting into Flex Perpetuals, we feel, is less because of those 2 major elements. It's an established business model, and we're using proven tech. So there's a large element of what's normally unknown about getting into a new project that we are removing from that. Now, that doesn't mean to say there's no risk, okay? With any investment, there's going to be risk, okay? But this is all part of your research process. Is this something that you want to get involved with? And so when you invest in the seed round, which is open at the moment, you're getting in at the earliest possible moment. The seed round, like it was with locked money, is usually reserved for venture capitalists. But with our community ethos, we want to open this up to, anyone who wants to get involved early in the project. So you're getting in early. So the earlier you get in, the more opportunity, there's no guarantees, but the more opportunity you have to get multiple returns on your investment in terms of the value of the token. This project has real utility. It has real yield. Okay, so the yield is paid by the fees that the protocol earns. We're not just making up magical tokenomics in the background. If the project earns $1 million, then 900,000 of that gets paid back to investors, as we've discussed earlier on. It's perpetual as well. So as long as you keep your tokens staked, you will earn yield, providing a continuous, steady source of income for the lifespan of the project. And we've got at least a 10-year vision for where this is going. And Perpetuals is just one part of what Flex Labs is building moving forward, and everything will be interlinked and will benefit each other. And it's a legitimate business model. So, in conclusion, these are the main reasons that I've just highlighted, that we feel that this is an excellent opportunity if it's something that, if you're serious about staying in this space and you're looking for opportunities to diversify. How do you get your money back? Well, for the seed round investors, your tokens will be staked for you. So if you deposit $1,000 into the seed round, then you will get $1,000 worth of FDX token at the seed round price. Okay, and then the official public launch will release at a higher price. So there's going to be an increase in token value from the beginning, and then over time with our tokenomics, our expectation is for that token to there'll be ups and downs, as there always is, but our expectation is that over time that token will appreciate in value. So you will get a return based on the value of your tokens. What happens though is they're locked for 6 months, so you can't access them. They're staked for you. You will be earning revenue share during that time. So you're earning USDC that whole time that your tokens are locked. And then they will be released to you equally over 18 months. So linear vesting over 18 months. But that during that whole period of time, you will be earning real yield paid out in USDC that you can withdraw and use at any time. And to put this into a bit of perspective, the people who got involved in HMX, our partner projects at seed round, achieved a full return on investment within the first year from that yield alone. So if I invested $10,000 in HMX's seed round, within the first year, I had earned $10,000 in yield. So I'd got my return on investment, but I've still got those $10,000 worth of tokens. And that token price, it might be 5x what it is now, it might be 10x, might only be 2x. It might even be the same, but that's that's where the volatility is in the token price. But we're doing everything that we can to ensure that token price remains strong. So you'd still have those tokens if you hadn't sold them off, and so you've got the yield plus the value of the tokens. That's how you get your return on investment in Flex Perpetuals. So this is now 30-minute long video, which is way longer than I had hoped it was going to be. But the last thing I want to do is, if all of this sounds good, what you need to do, and if you want to deposit into the seed round, you will need a referral link, which I will put in this post as well. And that will take you to a website that looks like this. It shows you what we've raised so far. You can deposit on Arbitrum or you can deposit on Base. So if you're depositing on Base, you need USDC. And if you're depositing on Arbitrum, you need USDT. And the link that I give you will populate this referral code up here. You need that referral code. There's a minimum deposit of $100 and there's no maximum. So just to show you how this works, on our website here, you would connect your wallet and then you choose whether you want to be on Arbitrum, which will automatically switch my wallet to Arbitrum, certainly if I'm using Rabi, which I use, or on Base Chain, which I'm going to do. So I have $100 in my Rabi wallet. I have 100 USDC, so I'm going to deposit that. I need to approve the $100. Sign that. And obviously you're going to want to type in, before you've done that, you want to type in how much you're depositing here. But I'm just doing the minimum here, $100 just for the purposes of this demonstration, and then deposit. And then you would confirm. And that's it. I've deposited and this is FIP2 is simply a placeholder token. And then that will determine how much of the seed round tokens that you get. So the larger your FIP2 balance, the higher proportion of the seed round tokens that you're going to get. The other important thing to recognize here is that you will get a referral link. So if you want to share that with friends, family, or anyone else that you feel might be interested, then you will get 3% of any deposit that they make. So that 3% is covered by us. It's not a tax. So you can see that I had 100, I deposited 100, and I've got a balance of 100. I haven't got a balance of 97. It's the 3% isn't being deducted from my deposit. We're taking that hit as a protocol, as a marketing incentive. So that's it from me just now. Any questions about this, folks, please feel free to reach out in the comments and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. I hope that you found that helpful. I hope that it's cleared up what the potential opportunity here is with Flex Perpetuals, and hope to speak to you all soon. Cheers.